This is my favorite still from the movie. I wanted it to be on the video, on the DVD. I had T-shirts made for everybody with that picture on it. I think it's really funny. This is another good picture of Robbie and Eric. In fact, when they were standing outside the convent in those garments, smoking, they got a lot of funny looks from people who had never seen nuns smoking in the street before. This is a still from the moment when they find the money and are confronted with the Sister Superior, and there's Robbie falling off the drain pipe. That's a set, and behind him, King's Cross Station is actually what we call a translight, a huge backlit photograph. All of these stills are taken by our wonderful stills photographer, Sophie Baker, who had an amazing talent for capturing the exact moment. They're not posed. These are taken, always during the shoot. And somehow she captures all three characters there at exactly the right moment. Eric's hangdog expression, Robbie's impudence, Janice Husband's confidence, his Eric on the phone dealing with the call from Brazil, Robbie and Eric running away from the gunfire. Somehow it captures the mood of the film perfectly. This shot is extraordinary. We only did this take once, and somehow Sophie got the exact moment when the cyclist was going over the handlebars. A wonderful shot. I love the expression on Robbie's face there on the right as he's dealing with Father Seamus, who has a twinkle in his eye. And again here, where this time Robbie is trying to make the most of it. And here's a great live-action shot of Robbie playing basketball with the girls. His hand, as you can see, is out of focus because it was moving so fast. There's a wonderful classic hangdog shot of Eric and Robbie enraged. Eric reminds me a little of Stan Laurel in that shot, and also in one that's coming up. This is Eric and Camille rehearsing for a scene that was in fact cut from the picture, learning the lines, I think, and this is a scene right at the end, part of the sentimental ending that was cut when all of the three main characters were on a ship sailing for Brazil. This is another beautiful picture of Eric. Really reminds me of Stan Laurel in that. And this is another of Sophie's extraordinary shots for that split second that Eric threw the Valium onto the bank manager's tongue. Sophie somehow captured that moment in the still photograph. Again, that was a one-take shot. We only did it once. We got it the first time. This was the day in King's Cross when we were doing the scene, the gasworks after the bank robbery by the canal. And here's Eric and Robbie finding the eventually getting hold of the stolen money and opening the bag. That's me trying to line up the shot with a long-suffering camera operator seen over my shoulder, wishing I would get out of his way. And there, somebody said something very funny. I don't know which of us it was, but I love that picture. We had probably more fun between takes on this film than any film that I've ever done. And there's Neil Binney, the operator, lining up the shot. And again, I think Robbie has just said something funny as he's holding the bomb, because Neil and I are laughing a lot. There's Camille. She is a remarkable mixture of beautiful and funny. That looks like a handheld shot, camera being handheld, and we did quite a lot of the film handheld. Everything in the bank robbery at the beginning, quite a bit of the shootout in Chiswick. I'm not very fond of the Steadicam, but I love the feel of handheld camera. And there's Eric standing beside the camera doing off-camera lines with Robbie presumably on camera. But you can see he's still acting even though he can't be seen. And this is the scene when Camille jumps out of the taxi and attacks Eric. Faith jumps out of the taxi and attacks Brian just before the robbery. They steal the money from the triads. as Faith Camille checking through her lines before a scene, I think, or maybe holding the book so the others could run over the lines. We were shooting very fast, so there was a lot of rehearsing between shots to save time. And again, I think Robbie must have just said something very funny, because Eric and I are laughing a lot. That was at the convent location. This is somewhere on Hampstead Heath for a scene that was eventually cut. All that's left of it is just one shot of Eric and Camille walking beside the lake. And here, this is a shot of my trying to direct Eric and Robbie, who are only interested in looking at the camera and manifestly paying no attention to me whatever.